Hi, everyone, and welcome to the No Place for Hate Initiative overview. My name is Amy Hirsch. I'm the education coordinator here with the Pacific Northwest ADL. I focus primarily on the No Place for Hate initiative. So if you're registered or interested, you'll probably be talking to me more about it, and I'll let Jane introduce herself now.
Hi, my name is Jane Pashman, and I'm filling in as Interim Education Director for the Pacific Northwest office. And we're excited to have you all today to learn a little bit more about No Place for Hate. Before we get started with the No Place for Hate requirements, just want to give a little bit background on the Anti-Defamation League. We are over 100 years old. As you can see, it was established in 1913. And the original mission is to stop the defamation of the Jewish people and to secure justice and fair treatment to all. We started a group of Jewish people wanted to fight anti-Semitism and realized that you can't just fight one form of hate without fighting all forms of hate. So now we're one of the top civil rights organizations in the country, working to defend civil rights through information, education, legislation, advocacy. We work in areas of criminal justice reform, education, equity, immigrant refugee rights, voting rights, and women's equity, among many other things. And we have 25 offices in the US and internationally. Some of our basic premises really at the ADL in terms of our education work is that bias is universal. We believe that all people develop biases through socialization, education, exposure to media, and that bias is a powerful influence on ourselves. Change is a process, and that change is difficult and can take time, and that can make progress difficult to measure. We also believe that diversity is a strength. It is not a problem or a challenge to be faced. And as I said before, that bias is learned behavior, and therefore we need to make a conscious effort to attempt to unlearn our biases. And that's one of the main goals of our education programs, especially in No Place for Hate. So our goals are to build inclusive and safe communities in which respect and equity are the goals, and where all students can thrive. We want to empower the whole school community, students, faculty, administration, and family members to take a stand against bias and bullying by incorporating all of your programs under one powerful message of No Place for Hate. And that would send a clear and unified message that all students have a place where they belong.
Thanks, Jane. So I'll talk now a little bit about the program requirements. So what schools need to complete to be designated a No Place for Hate school. So the first step is to create a No Place for Hate committee. This is a group of students, as well as faculty, staff, administrators, and potentially family members that will be spearheading the No Place for Hate efforts at your school. The good thing about this committee is that you don't have to create a whole new group. You can use a group that's already on campus, so a Peace Team, Diversity Club, or a GSA. And we do recommend that you have a variety of different age groups on your committee, just so that those newer students can continue the work as they go up in grades at your school. The next step is to sign the No Place for Hate pledge, which is a set of agreements about inclusivity and respect. We want all students and staff members are welcome as well to sign the No Place for Hate pledge. This really just shows that everyone is committed to working towards the goals of No Place for Hate. And this is a really great way to kick off the initiative at your school. You could have a signing at an assembly, a pep rally, or just have students sign them individually in their classrooms. But we found this is a really great way to start letting people know what No Place for Hate is all about. Here are two of the No Place for Hate pledges. We have one from elementary school and one from middle and high school, just some changes in language here. But I'll let you take a peek. There's some pretty powerful statements on here. There will be copies of these in your Google Drive folder, which you will receive a link to once you've registered for No Place for Hate. And you are able to download these, print them out, and display them prominently around the school. The third step is to implement activities with impact. So that means creating and implementing at least 3 school-wide activities. And we welcome you to do more than 3 if you have the capacity for that. These activities should really enhance students' understanding of diversity, bias, social justice, and inclusion with the goals of fostering equity and harmony. We do ask that all students, or as many students as possible, are involved in these activities and impacted by them, and utilize active learning and discussion. So an example of an activity that wouldn't fit the requirements of No Place for Hate would be an assembly in which students watch a speaker, but there isn't any discussion afterwards or reflection. We want to make sure that this work is really being processed by all the students. And that's because we want to challenge students to think critically and really connect with their community. Resources for you to learn more about the requirements for activities and ideas are the activity guidelines and the No Place for Hate resource guide, which are both in the Google Drive folder and on the Seattle ADL website. Here are just 2 little screenshots of the activity form that will be in your Google Drive folder. The part on the left, part 1, activity proposal. This is something that you'll fill out before your activity is completed, and you'll send it in to me at least 2 weeks in advance of the planned activity. And you'll do that just by sharing it with an email address in your Google Drive folder, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. So once you've proposed the activity and we have a chance to review it and see that it fits the requirements, if it doesn't for some reason fit the requirements, we'll work individually with you to kind of tweak it and make sure that it does. So once you've sent in the proposal, completed your activity, you'll fill out the second portion on the right here, which is the activity fulfillment form. And this is really to let us know how successful your activity was, if you do it again, what you might change, and then letting us know at the bottom here which supplemental materials you're going to send us. So if you have photos of students doing something, if you have a newspaper article about your activity, you'll check those just to let me know what to look for in your folder. And then the final step is just related to what I was just talking about, making sure that we have documentation of your work, so that paperwork that we just saw, as well as signatures on the pledge, any lesson plans that were used, and most importantly, photos and videos of students completing the activities. Those are a really fun way for us to see what you were doing and how successful it was. And all of this documentation can be submitted in this folder here at the bottom in your Google folder called documentation. And we have been talking about Google Drive quite a bit. If you have had any issues accessing your Google Drive, or you have any issues in the future, please feel free to reach out to me and I can help you navigate that. We also plan to have a Google Drive webinar in the future, so keep an eye out for an invite to that. And then we're going to talk a little bit now about resources for No Place for Hate coordinators. This is a pretty exciting new incentive that we're using as part of No Place for Hate. We are able to send out a free welcome trunk now to every school that registers. There's a picture here on the right which shows an example welcome trunk that we displayed at our fundraiser this past week. This welcome trunk will include No Place for Hate swag, so stickers, wristbands, pins, balloons, all really awesome things to encourage students to sign the No Place for Hate pledge or get involved with activities. We'll also have printed copies of the resource guide, which has those sample activities that you can utilize as part of your initiative. We are able to offer age-appropriate books on anti-bias topics. There's a few examples of those at the bottom there, some really wonderful books that we've sourced from ADL recommended materials. Also ADL anti-bias curriculum, which can be used to implement lessons, and encouraging notes from ADL staff and community members. At our fundraiser, we were able to have a No Place for Hate table where people who support the ADL wrote notes to committee members to really encourage them and support them in their No Place for Hate work. As I mentioned, the Google Drive folder is a really vital part of No Place for Hate and a really important resource for coordinators. It contains digital copies of all the paperwork that you'll need, folders that I showed you earlier where you'll submit your documentation, and then this final folder here, the ADL resource folder, which has additional resources that Jane will also talk a little bit more about, links to lesson plans, table talks, sample letters to parents, and then logos, which some schools have used to put on t-shirts or on posters. So all that will be available to you. And this is also a new initiative that we have going on this year. This is our online community. It's a free No Place for Hate coordinator community on the website Teachers Connect. This is a really great way to engage with coordinators all around the country that are working to fight hate and bias in their schools. It's a great opportunity for you to ask questions, bounce ideas off of each other, and just see how they were able to successfully implement No Place for Hate. This is a place for you to utilize, and we will be posting questions and resources every month. And please let me know. You can email me if you would like to be able to sign up for this community. And of course, throughout the year, we have staff support available. That's me on the right at one of our No Place for Hate elementary schools. We're here to help you with activity brainstorming if you're having problems coming up with ideas or you need to tweak your activities a little bit, to help you handle incidents in schools, schedule a World of Difference trainings, which are our anti-bias trainings that Jane will speak a little bit more about. And then at the end of the year, once you've completed all your requirements, we'll help you plan your banner ceremony and get community members involved. I'll hand it off to Jane now.
Thanks, Amy. And I know that's a lot of information, but as Amy said, the staff is always available to support you. And it's really exciting for you to join the No Place for Hate community. We have over 1,800 schools across the country participating, which reaches over 1.2 million pre-K through 12 students. So it's a really great opportunity for your students to really feel part of a movement across the country. So I'll tell you a little bit more about some other resources aside from No Place for Hate. One of our biggest education programs at the ADL is the World of Difference Institute. So through World Difference Institute, we can provide small group trainings for students and educators, usually about 15 to 30 participants in each training, fully customizable to see what your goals are, and we'll do a needs assessment and work with you to best create an agenda that meets the goals of your school. It can be anywhere from a half day long to a multi-day program. And unlike No Place for Hate, which is completely available at no cost, these trainings are fee-based, but we can work within your school, and we do have some grant funding available to supplement the cost. Sample programs for World of Difference are Becoming an Ally, Interrupting Name Calling and Bullying. That's a program for both students and educators. We have a peer training program for students and an anti-bias teacher training. And our website has a really great collection of free resources and lesson plans for you and your school. So here's a brief list, and you can go to the website and you'll see Books Matter, lesson plans I'll talk to you about in a minute, but also any anti-bias tools and strategies, a focus on bullying and cyberbullying prevention, and also Table Talk, which is a great resource for families to talk about current events at their own kitchen table. So Books Matter is a library of over 700 children's and young adult books that are focused on bias, diversity, and social justice. As Amy mentioned, the books that are going to be in your welcome trunk are all books that are listed on Books Matter. And this is also great for your schools, your librarians, and the teachers to, if they're looking for some new books that are real focused on social justice and developing empathy for kids. And the website also has a collection of lesson plans that are extremely timely, focus on current events. So things that are going on in the news that can really help your teachers and educators to create discussion around topics that the students might not really know that much about, but they're hearing about it outside of the classroom. These lesson plans are K through 12 level, so every topic has lesson plans that are focused, different lesson plans for elementary level, middle, and high school level. So definitely I would check out the lesson plans if you're looking for something, an additional resource to talk about current events and use critical thinking to help students really learn these topics.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for watching. We hope you learned a lot and that we didn't overwhelm you with too much information. If you do have questions, you can always reach out to me. My email is here, ahirsch@adl.org. And just a reminder, our deadline for registering for No Place for Hate is November 1st, 2019. So please, if you're interested in participating, you can go on our website to register for No Place for Hate. And thanks again. We look forward to hearing from you.